I want you to just picture a moment that, I mean, thousands of people are experiencing right now. It's a Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
You're at your laptop. You're refreshing your email for, like, the 100th time. You've spent the last year, maybe even longer, building this dream.
Oh, yeah.
You've pictured yourself on a campus in Toronto or Vancouver. You've probably already bought the winter coat. You've told everyone you're leaving. And then that notification pops up. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada.
And your heart just stops.
It does that double beat thing, right?
Yeah.
You open the PDF, and you're just scanning for that one word, approved.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not there. Instead, you see this generic sentence. Something about an officer not being satisfied. Refused.
It is such a visceral feeling. It's a gut punch. I've spoken to so many students who say it feels like a door just slamming shut, not just on a school year, but on an entire future. It feels incredibly personal.
Exactly. It feels like they looked at you specifically and said, nope,
Yeah.
you're not good enough. But, and this is why we're here today, we're going to flip the script on that feeling.
Right.
We've combed through a massive stack of insights, especially from Dara Immigration Services, and if there's one headline to grab onto before you spiral, it's this. A refusal is not a permanent ban.
That's the twist, isn't it?
It feels final, but in the world of immigration, it's often just a very poorly phrased request for better evidence.
Incomplete narrative is how I'd put it. The document says refused, but the reality is often, tell me more. But before we get to the fix, and we do have a very specific forensic fix to talk about, we have to be realistic about the environment we're in now.
Right. The landscape of 2025 and 2026 is it's not the same as it was 5 years ago.
Not at all.
The data in the source material shows a real tightening. Refusal rates are up. So is Canada just closing the door?
It's less about closing the door and more about, well, it's more about how they're guarding the entrance. We've seen a significant rise in refusal rates, and a huge part of that is technological.
How so?
We're dealing with high-volume processing tools now. AI and automated triage systems, they're playing a massive role in that initial yes or no.
Okay, hold on. That sounds a little sci-fi. Are you saying robots are rejecting students?
It's not quite a Terminator situation, but it is algorithmic. They're using advanced tools to sort through applications at a massive scale. And what that means is that perfectly genuine, bona fide students,
People who just want to study.
people who really just want to study and then go home, they're getting caught in this net and rejected for reasons that seem completely vague.
That's incredibly frustrating. But that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to move past that emotional reaction. We're going to stop guessing. We're going to take what the source material calls a forensic approach.
Yes.
We need to figure out why the computer said no and how to turn that into a yes.
Forensic is absolutely the right word. You have to stop thinking like a student and start thinking like a detective.
I love that.
Oh.
So let's start with the basics of the rejection itself. Because apparently, in the eyes of the government, not all no's are created equal. The sources talk about a refusal versus a return. I just assume they meant the same thing.
They feel the same, right? You're not getting on the plane. But legally, they are worlds apart. A return is actually the best case scenario for a bad situation. It means your application was never really processed.
So it's just bounced off the front door.
Exactly, like forgetting to put a stamp on a letter,
Yeah.
maybe you missed a signature or forgot the fee, or, and this is a huge one now, you missed the provincial attestation letter. The package just comes back to you. The key thing here is that a return does not go on your permanent immigration record. It's a clerical error.
Yeah.
You fix it, you send it back.
Okay, so that's a mulligan, a do-over,
Mm-hmm.
but a refusal. That's the sticky one.
That's the one. A refusal means an officer or the system opened your file, reviewed it, and made a decision. No. And that goes on to your permanent immigration history. Forever. And that's when you get the dreaded generic letter.
I've seen these. It says something incredibly broad like, I'm not satisfied, you will leave Canada. But it doesn't say why.
And that vagueness drives people insane. You're looking at your bank account thinking, but I have the money. What do you mean? And this brings us to the most startling insight from the sources. The reason the letter is so vague is because of a tool called Chinook.
Chinook. That sounds like a helicopter.
For a wind pattern in Alberta, yeah.
Right.
In this context, it's the tool that decides your fate. It's an Excel-based module used by IRCC. It's designed for one thing: speed.
Efficiency.
Exactly. So when an officer reviews your file in Chinook, they are not typing out a thoughtful, personalized letter to you explaining their concerns.
Let me guess. Drop-down menus.
You got it. Drop-down menus. They're selecting standardized reasons from a list. They click personal assets or purpose of visit, and then the system generates that template letter.
Wow. So all the nuance is just gone.
Yeah.
It's a multiple choice for your life.
Completely. The officer might be thinking, hey, this huge deposit in your account from last week looks suspicious, but all they do is click financial assets.
And so you get the letter, and you think, maybe I need more money. So you go borrow more.
And you reapply, but the problem was never the amount, it was the source. You're trying to solve a puzzle without knowing what the puzzle is.
That is terrifying. Say check engine light. If you don't know the actual error code, you're just guessing.
And guessing is fatal here. The sources are so clear about this. If you guess and reapply immediately, you're just gambling. And if you submit a new application that doesn't fix the actual invisible problem, you will get refused again.
And a second refusal is way worse than a first one.
Yeah.
So we have to see inside this black box. We need the mechanic's code reader. This is the forensic investigation. The material talks about GCMS notes. Break this down for us.
This is the single most important tool you have. GCMS stands for Global Case Management System. If the refusal letter is the prescription telling you you're sick,
Yeah.
the GCMS notes are the doctor's private chart where they wrote down the actual diagnosis.
So this is where the human actually types what they were thinking.
Exactly. It contains the officer's detailed written reasoning. So where the letter just says financial insufficiency,
Right.
vague, the GCMS note might say something like, large lump sum deposit of $30,000 appeared 1 week before application. Source of funds, not documented. Concern regarding actual availability of funds.
No, that is crystal clear. That's actionable. You can work with that.
Precisely. Now you know you don't need more money. You need to prove where that money came from. Maybe it was a property sale, a gift. You can document it. But without the notes, you're flying blind.
This feels like secret information. Is it hard to get?
Surprisingly, no. And it's cheap. $5 Canadian. You request them through the Access to Information and Privacy Act, or ATIP.
$5. What's the catch?
The catch is time. The currency is patience. Legally, they're supposed to respond in 30 days, but with the backlogs in 2025 and 2026, we're seeing 45, sometimes 60 days.
Oof, that's excruciating. 2 months of waiting just to find out why. I can see why people are tempted to just rush.
It's a real test of nerves, but you have to do the math. Waiting 60 days to get the truth and then submitting a perfect application is so much faster than rushing a bad one, getting refused again, and having 2 refusals on your record.
You cannot fix what you cannot see.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's fast forward. We've waited. We have our GCMS notes. Now we can see the why. The sources outline 3 really common traps for refusal. Let's walk through them.
Sure. The first big one is purpose of visit, which is linked to your bona fides.
Bona fides. Sounds like legal Latin.
It just means, are you a real student? The officer has to believe your primary intent is to study, not just to work. And the most common way people fail this is what we can call the career progression disconnect.
The source had a great example of this. The 35-year-old with a master's degree.
Exactly. Imagine you're 35. You have a master's in business. You have a manager job. And you apply for a 2-year general business diploma at a community college.
On the surface, that looks fine. More education. What's the red flag?
To an officer, that looks like a downgrade. Why would a master's graduate go back for a basic diploma? It doesn't make logical career sense. So they assume your motivation isn't education, but just using the easiest program as a ticket into the Canadian job market.
Ah, I see. They think you're using the student visa as a backdoor to a work visa.
Precisely. So if that's you, your application needs to explain why this specific diploma offers a niche skill. Maybe it's North American supply chain logistics that your master's didn't cover. You have to connect the dots for that.
Got it. Logic is key. Okay, trap number 2, financial insufficiency. This seems straightforward. You have the money or you don't.
You'd think so, but having the money isn't enough. You have to prove the stability of the money. This is the sudden funding problem.
The lump sum we talked about.
It catches so many people. If you have $25,000 in the bank, but it appeared 2 days ago, the officer's going to think, did they just borrow this to print the statement?
It's show money.
Exactly. They want to see you can support yourself for a year, not just for a day. Now, if your parents sold land to pay for your tuition, that's fine. But you need a paper trail. You need a gift deed or a sale deed. You have to answer the question before they even ask it.
Okay, third trap. This one's tricky. Family ties and dual intent. This one feels like a paradox.
It is the great paradox of Canadian immigration. If you have strong family ties in Canada, Maybe a sibling lives there. That can actually hurt your application.
Which makes no sense at first. You'd think having support is a good thing.
Support is good for living, but it can be seen as bad for leaving. A study permit is temporary. The officer's job is to ensure you will leave when it expires. If your whole family is in Toronto and you have nobody back home, they think they are never going to leave.
But wait, isn't the goal for many students to become permanent residents? The government even markets that pathway.
It is, and it's allowed. That's the legal concept of dual intent. You can have two intentions. One, to study temporarily, and two, you hope to become a permanent resident eventually.
So where's the trap?
The trap is in the balance. You have to prove that if permanent residency doesn't happen, you'll still go home. If the officer thinks your plan is PR or bust, they'll refuse you. You have to show strong ties to your home country assets, family, a job offer that would pull you back.
That is a delicate needle to thread. I really want to stay, but I promise I'll go if I have to.
Pretty much.
So we know the why. Now we have to fight back. The sources lay out two main strategies. Option A is reapplication.
This is the most common route, but, and I can't stress this enough, it has to be a new application. You cannot just hit resubmit.
The definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
100%. You need a new, detailed letter of explanation. This is your chance to speak directly to the officer's concerns from the GCMS notes. You say, I see you were concerned about the lump sum. Here's the sale deed for my father's car. You dismantle their doubts.
But sometimes the refusal just seems wrong, like legally unreasonable. That brings us to option B, judicial review. That sounds terrifying.
It sounds intimidating, but it's a standard legal process. And this is where the 2025 landscape has totally changed the game.
The new pilot project. This caught my eye.
This is huge. A judicial review used to take 14 to 18 months. Useless for a student.
Right. The remedy was too slow to be the cure.
Exactly. But this new study permit pilot project streamlines the process. Now reviews are often completed in under 5 months.
That's a massive difference. That's actually manageable. You could defer for a semester.
It makes the legal route a genuinely viable option. And what's interesting is often just filing for a review makes IRCC take a second look. Their lawyers might see the refusal was weak and offer to settle before it even gets to a judge.
So just showing you're willing to fight can trigger a fix.
Sometimes, yes. If you win, the court orders a different officer to reopen and reassess your file. You get a clean slate.
Okay, so we have a path forward. But before we wrap, I want to rapid fire through a few myths from the forums.
Oh, the forums, dangerous places. Let's do it.
Myth number 1, the cooling off period. You have to wait 6 months before applying again.
False. Completely false. There's no waiting period. But applying the next day without new evidence is just a waste of time and money. The wait is only to get your notes and build a better case.
Myth 2, I've been refused, so I'm blacklisted.
Also false, mostly. A standard refusal is not a ban. You can apply again. The only exception is misrepresentation.
Scary word.
If you lied, if you used a fake bank statement and they catch you, that's a 5-year ban. No entry, no discussion.
And with these new AI tools, they are better than ever at spotting fakes.
Instantly. Don't risk it. A refusal is a delay. A ban is a disaster.
Final point, and this is a sobering one, the permanent record.
This is true. A refusal stays on your file forever. On every future application, even a tourist visa 10 years from now, you have to check the box that says, have you ever been refused a visa to Canada?
And if you don't check it,
then you are committing misrepresentation. Because they know. They have the record. They're testing to see if you're honest.
wow. It's a system where honesty and precision are the only way through.
Absolutely. The days of winging it are long gone.
So to synthesize this, we started with the panic. We moved to analysis with the GCMS notes to see inside that black box. And we ended with a strategy, a precise reapplication or a judicial review.
That's the journey. You stop being a victim of a computer says no system, and you start being an investigator of your own case. You take control back.
It really highlights that an algorithm is probably the first thing to look at your application. It's just checking boxes. It's fast, automated, and it lacks empathy.
That's the key. The system is designed for speed and volume, which means the burden is on you, the applicant, to be a perfect storyteller. You can't leave anything open to interpretation.
A refusal is a warning sign, not a dead end. But as the sources say, a second refusal is much, much harder to overturn.
Exactly. You get one really good shot at a fix. Don't waste it on a guess.
I want to leave everyone with a thought today. We talk so much about AI writing poetry or doing our homework. But here, AI is effectively deciding who gets to cross a border. So when you sit down to write your next application, ask yourself, who are you writing for? A human who can read between the lines, or a system that scans for keywords and logic gaps. Understanding that difference, that might be the key.
Well said. Good luck to everyone out there.